Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the August monthly training. This month's topic is all about collections. At any time during the training, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or you can send me a message through the chat. So there are three areas of focus in today's training. We are going to first look at what a collection is and how to create them in Salamander Live. Second, we'll look at how to print collection tags. And last, we'll look at how to check in, track, and manage collections during an event. So first, let's define what a collection is. So this is a term that we as Salamander use to define what a group of resources, whether that's all people or a combination of people or equipment, that's going to be tracked and accounted for as one unit or team. So examples would be like a search and rescue team, a hazmat team, a cleanup crew, whatever it is that you want to track as a single unit. Now, collections are supported in all of our solutions except for RapidTag evac. Out of the 5 listed, the Track app is the only one that cannot create, print, or generate a collection barcode. So the Track app can only manage the collection once it's been checked into the event. Now, due to time, today's focus is going to be on how to create the collections within Salamander Live, print the barcodes, and then manage the collection within the Track app. So I've got Salamander Live up here. Let me just zoom in on this so it's a little bit larger. We'll go straight to collections. Sorry, let me just add in the people that are still waiting. All right. So collections, if you look in your left menu, you should see collections, that page. Collection is available for any account that has Salamander Live. So whether you have a standard level 1 package, 2 or 3, if you have any of the additional features, collections available for all. And it's unlimited, so you can create as many collections as you need. Now, how you create collections is completely up to how your teams are built or established. So they can be built as an empty collection or they can contain resources, depending on whether your collection is active and deployable or not active. So you'll see at the top right, there's the buttons, same buttons that you see on the people, equipment, and organization page. All you need to do on there is click the plus button, and then this is where you can fill out the form for your collection. So first, is the collection active? Is this being used for an event that you have coming up in the next, couple weeks, couple months? Is this collection deployable? You can mark those as such. What this does is it just helps you filter out your list later when you're looking for your active collections and or your deployable collections. What is the name of your collection? So this is where you can go in and create that. So for example, if I had a strike team, I can go in there, I can create that. Oops, if I can spell. And then you can create an ID for that team. This is completely up to you. Okay, just going to do strike team 1. Organization, this is where you need to type in the organization in which this team is with. So if I select, so again, you're typing in the organization name, and the organizations that match should pull up in a drop down. See that? Should pull up in a drop down, and from there you can just select your team or your organization. So I'm just going to select one. And then your NIMS type default is none, but you do have the option to select a type for it. Designation, completely optional as well. And then kind. So these lists, they are canned lists, so you can't add to this. Once you're done, simply click Save. Once you click Save, it's going to take you back to your list here. So what I recommend you do is add a column. This column, you can go in here, you can add or you can print, or you can go in and add a specific column that'll help you filter out your list. Okay. All the other ones, we have one called last updated, and here we don't. But what I recommend is you filter out by the name. You can also do it by, deployable if you want to add that to see what is deployable versus what is active. Usually I like to add those more at the top. But all you're going to do in here is you can search for your collection that you just created. So I'm just going to go in here, strike. So all you do is click in the drop down. You should see a sort and filter drop down. Go in there and you can add a filter or a sort. I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to do an equals to strike team, apply, and there it is. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me into my collections profile. So at the top here, you're going to have some base information, what you filled out on that form. You'll also have a field called cost per hour sum, cost per day sum. So the calculations on these will come in as you start adding in resources. Estimated QR code utilization currently at 14%. This again will increase as you add in resources as well. So this is important to pay attention to, especially if you're looking at printing collection barcodes. At the bottom here, you'll see 4 tabs: details, files, resources, assigned events. So from here, what you can do is if you need to edit this base information, this is where you can do so. But this is also where you can delete, you can email, you can report, and then you can print from this details page as well. From here, you got files. So if there's files that's related to this collection and you want to upload those, you definitely can. Just click on the button. Same restrictions apply for all files within Salamander Live. They cannot be password protected and they have to be less than 50 megabytes, but you can upload all different types of documents. And then the third tab is resources. So if you know who those resources are going to be, if let's say you had a roster for who's going to make up this team, you can add them as you're creating, or you can create it and leave it as is, especially if you haven't established this team yet, but you know that there's going to be a strike team that's going to be supporting your event. So how do you add in your resources? It's very simple to do so. You'll see these plus buttons over here for people, equipment, and this is a collection within the collection, which I don't recommend, which I'm not going to cover today, but I don't recommend you doing a collection within a collection. Right now, we're still figuring out all of that within the track app and how it's going to be handled. So I don't recommend adding a collection to your collection. So basically it's a nested collection. So what I'm going to focus on is these 2 areas right here for adding people and equipment. So if you're looking at adding people and equipment, just know that you do have to have people built within your database, within your people database, as well as equipment. You cannot just create them on the fly. Okay, so as you click on the plus people, it's going to pull your people from your people database. So what you as your user has access to. From here, you can search by name or you can scroll through the list and select who you want within this collection. Max per is 50. So in this form right here, this little modal, you can select up to 50 people at one time to create your collection. So I'm just going to select a couple people in here. Again, you can search by name, search by organization. It's going to pop up a couple people. Okay. So I'm just going to select a couple people from here. You'll see that as you select them, they'll highlight in yellow. At the bottom, you'll see for selected. That's an area that you can actually expand. If you expand it, it'll show you who you're looking at adding. So think of this as your add people cart. So it hasn't added to your collection yet. It's just creating this list for you of what you've selected so far. If you see anybody that's listed in red, that means that they're already included within this collection and you can't add them again. So once you're done, simply click Save. It's going to add those people to your people list. So now you've got a roster of 4 people. You'll see that in here you have check boxes next to their names, and you'll see that their names are in blue. What this means is that you're able to go in here and view that person's record as long as you have access to it. So for example, if I need to go in and fix this person's hourly rate, I can go in here, click on his record. It's going to navigate me back to his record. I can edit his rate if need be, save it, and then go back to that collection. So I have that option as well. So if I want to go in here and I want to edit his rate in here, I can go in here and edit his rate if need be. Okay. So I edit his rate. I can go back. So again, you got your couple options. You can click the back button on the browser. This is your history. If you click the back button on the people profile, it's going to take you back to your people list. Or you can just go back to collections and then click on your collection again. So a couple different options there. Okay. So you'll see here I updated his rate and now it says $40. And you'll see that this totals at the top here for cost per hour sum. Now for cost per day sum, you'll only see this with equipment. You'll never see it with people. From here, the checkboxes, this checkbox does a couple different things. If you click on the checkbox, you're able to delete. So you can delete multiple people or remove them from this collection. So when I say delete, all you're doing is removing them from the collection. You're not actually deleting their record. So when you do this, you're going to see this confirm delete, but you don't have that same form that says enter in delete in all caps because you're not actually permanently deleting their record from the system. All you're doing is removing them from the collection. If you scroll to the right, at least on my screen, because I have this zoomed up really high, 125%, you'll see that there's a hamburger button next to each record. So here you'll see that you can also do a remove from here as well. So this removes one person at a time. And also you can select who the leader is. So in this case, if I'm going to have Rachel Buckner as the leader, I can mark her as the leader. So I can set the leader. And what this does is going to put a star next to her record. So that signifies that she's the leader for this group. Now, if you're printing ID cards, her name will be printed on the collection ID. Okay, so that's how you add people, remove people, select who's going to be the leader. You can do the same process for equipment as well. So like I said, a collection can include both people and equipment. So if you wanted to track the equipment that's with this, I'm just going to go in here and just put in truck. Same with search for a truck. I select a truck in this case. I'm just going to select one in here. So I'm selecting this piece of equipment, tying it to this collection. So what happens is that when this collection is scanned in or downloaded into the track app, it's going to pull all its members. So all 5 members, the equipment and the people. And you can check them in all at once. So that's the benefits of creating collections. It's one scan for the entire team versus individually scanning every single individual. So it just depends on your process and how you're checking in your resources. Are they checking in individually or are they going to be more likely checked in as a team or a group? So there it is. Same thing. You have the ability to click on the piece of equipment's name. It's going to redirect you into that record. So obviously I selected one that's out of service. Let me change this to available. I can click the back button on my browser. So not here on the equipment profile, but within your browser. And it'll take you back to where you left off on your collections page. Any questions so far on the creation of a collection? So you'll see as I started adding in the resources, my QR code utilization was going up. So again, it all depends on what these records contain when it comes to information. The more these records contain for information, the more you're going to see that this is going to go up. So right now, 54%, that's good. Highly recommend you keep this at 110% if you're looking at printing. That makes sure that the system is not going to deny it, saying that the barcode is too large. Not only that, we want to make sure that it's readable. So you'll see here I have a bunch of different collections that I've created in here. It's filtered by alphanumeric order. So lots of different organizations and so it depends on what you're looking at tracking and creating for collections. So you'll see I've got all different types in here. I got large groups in here. So in this case where we don't know who's going to show up, but we're adding the entire department, you have the ability to do so. So I just created this collection. Obviously, this collection is not going to be one that I'm going to print because the QR code utilization is really high. You'll see here it's 585%. This is definitely not going to be able to print. So this is a download only collection. If I go to my resources, you'll see I've got 100 people in here. Okay. So how this is handled in the track app, you can still download this collection, but then you can go in and select who is actually there as that team. And then the track app allows you to unselect the ones that are not there. So maybe there's 50 people out of the 100. You get a roster of who those 50 people are. You scan or you download this collection, and then you uncheck the ones that aren't there. So I'll walk through that process when we get into the track app. I also have one in here. Let's go to my high angle rescue team that does not have any resources. You'll see cost 0. So I don't know who's going to make up this team, but we know that we're going to have a high angle rescue team there. So in this case, I can download this collection within the track app and build my team as I go within the event. Any questions on this? Any questions? Questions? No questions? All right. So let's talk about printing. So if you remember from what I talked about earlier on the details page, you do have the ability to print from here. So this is printing out a single ID tag for this for this collection. So you can click print from here. Just continue printing, and you have all these different designs you can print from. So when you go in there, you're going to see 5 different designs. I'll talk about what these designs look like. Let me pull up my presentation again. So you'll see here the same designs I talked about. So these are the standard designs right here. I know it says 4, but it's 5. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one is a one-sided collection card. This is a really basic black and white card, nothing fancy about it. All it has is going to have the organization name, the team name, who the leader is, if there is one, when it was issued or printed, and if it expires. And then you'll have the collection barcode right there, all on one side. So even if you have a dual printer, it's only going to print one side. Really, really, really basic. The next card design is the same 2x3, so a hard card design as well, however, much more fancy. There's color involved. You got 3 choices here. You got a lighter blue, a navy blue, and a red. So you have your options for what you want to print. So it's 2-sided, so the front is going to have the base information. So you're going to see the organization name, the ID of the collection, the type if there is, the issue and expiration date. You also will see that there is a logo on there. This is the organization logo. And then you'll see the team name and then the leader in the middle here. On the back, all you will have is the QR code. It's too large to place in the front, so we place that on the back with some of the basic information. So again, much more fancy with color. The other option in here is a sheeted document. So this is very similar to what you would do for like people and equipment if you want to create like a resource book or a battle book. You can create and print off barcodes. It prints 6 per sheet. And this QR code is going to contain all the members as well. So again, you're going to just have the name of the team, the ID, and the organization that team is with. And then what you can do with this is once you print this off, you can place this into the 3-ring binder, have that follow during when you activate Salamander for your events. And now you have barcodes that can be scanned. So again, making sure that your QR code utilization is less than 110% in order for you to print any of these designs. All right, so if you print from here, obviously you're not going to be doing a company sheet. That's a waste of paper. You're going to be doing one of the 4, either the basic collection card or, selecting a color, blue, navy blue, red. The other way you can print is from the collections list, just like how you can do for people and equipment. So if you have specific collections that you want to print, you can select them from here. Again, the only thing about this is you have to kind of pay attention to which ones are less than 110%. So if you have larger collections, just know that if you select them in this print job, you're going to get an error message when you're trying to print. So you got to be very careful about what you're selecting here. So I already know that these ones are all okay. They're approved. Obviously, this one is not. I put this on here to help me that there's 100 people in here. So I know that this one will not print. Absolutely not. So you can select as many as you need to. Again, I highly recommend you keep printing 100, limiting at 100 per print job. Again, that's just due to spooling time. It takes anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes for Salamander Live to send that information to your printer and then to have your printer actually print. So once you've selected the ones you want to print on here, all you do is click print. Simple as that. And now you've got a batch job of printing a multiple. So from here, you have your options. You can select all of them, right? Is it the company sheet that you want? Or is it the basic collection card? Or is it one of the fancier cards? So you have your pick. Any questions on printing? Questions on printing? We do have a report in here. This report is specifically for just your list of collections. It doesn't have much detail, so I'll pop this up for you so you can see. Again, this CSV, it's because it's a CSV export report, it's going to be based off of your data table. So if you want more information within this report, you'll want to go to the columns and add in more information. So I got that report, pop it up in here. And you'll see it's just a list of your collections, what you have created so far. And then you'll have, is it active? Is it deployable? What kind it is? So you have those options for information. Now within, let me just go in here and look at this collection. When you go into the actual collection itself and print out the report, this one will have in the information about who all the members are within this collection. So that's why you'll see here collection export. So that's the difference between the two reports. I want to make sure. So here it is. So it tells you who those members are. Here's the resource names. And it'll even tell you the resource type. Who the leader is. Again, this is if you're using that nested collection feature, which again, I don't recommend, but if you use that, you'll see the child collection information in here as well, if there's any. So that is that report. I know there has been asks about a report on this page here to have you be able to export all of your collections and all of its members into one report versus just going into the collection to get that information. So I know that's on an ask, we have a ticket for that. I don't know when that would be created. So if that question does pop up, if it does, that's coming. What is the formula for the resource ID? What are you talking about resource ID? The person's ID in here? So this resource, their ID?
Well, actually, I noticed on the CSV report, it comes up as, I don't know, 14 plus XYZ, whatever. You know what I mean? And it doesn't keep the numbers.
Yes. Yeah, so that is not us. That is, here, I'll pull up the other one. That is Microsoft Excel. All it does is once it goes over and above a certain number, it can be like 13 or something like that, Excel will actually put it into scientific notation. So all you need to do if you want to see the full entirety of the number, you have to change that into a number and then move the decimal points over. Oops. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so that's an Excel thing. It is not us. Again, these are CSV reports, so it's super basic text type reports. So that's why it does that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So great question, Jennifer. Anybody else have any other questions? Any other questions? So let's start with an event. So that's really where the collections come into play. So if you're not tracking and you're just creating ID cards, it really doesn't make sense to create collections unless you're going to be tracking them with any of our tracking applications. So again, we talked, those tracking applications, you have the Track app, you have Rapid Tag. We do have Tag where you can create a collection, so that's more of you and the collection you belong with. Command, that's a legacy software. You can create collections there. But for today, we're just going to really focus on the Track app because that's the most commonly used application for scanning and managing collections during an event. So in here, your events, you have a couple ways you can do this. You can create the event through Salamander Live, or you can create it through the Track app, or you can create it from a plan. So I have an event already created. I created it from a plan. It's my example event in here. So I got a bunch of resources that I've added to my plan and activated it. So if you don't have plans, it's a similar process in this case, so you don't have to worry about it. I'll do one that doesn't have a plan, but for those that do have a plan and want to see that process, I'll walk through that as well. Can I see a show of hands if you want to just click the raise your hand if you currently have the plans feature? Just so I can see what the audience has for resources. Okay, so Jennifer, excellent. So we have one. Nobody else has plans. Okay, so let me go through the basic tracking without a plan, and then after that we'll look at the tracking of a collection within a plan. All right, so let me pop up my mirroring app in here. All right, so here's the Track app. If you're unfamiliar with this, this is a mobile application you download onto your Android or iOS device. So it could be a phone, it could be a tablet. And this allows you to scan or download resources and start managing your resources activity during an event. So first off, there is a identity verification feature you can turn on or off in this case. For this purpose, I'm going to leave this on. From here, we're going to create an event. So again, like I said, you can create one through Salamander Live. You can create one through the Track apps. Completely up to you and how your internal process is going to be for when you start an event. I'm just going to create one from the Track app. Tap the plus button, name your event. I'm just going to put today's date. All right, so there's my event. I named it. I'm going to tap create. Once you create, it's going to go into your event. From here, you have off scene, which is the default assignment that populates in here when you create an event through the Track app. If you create the event through Salamander Live, you will have two default assignments, one called off scene, one called on scene. From here, we need to add in assignments if you want to ahead of time. This does require you to build out an assignments database within Salamander Live. So I'm talking about is this right here. So this assignments database. This, as long as you're connected with the internet, once you're utilizing the Track app, it'll pull this list down when you're trying to download. So that's what I'm talking about. So in here, this plus button right here is your download function. So this is going to Salamander Live, grabbing those records and adding it to your event. So for your assignments, again, like I show you that list, this is my list from Salamander Live. I can go in here, I can search, I can scroll through and add my assignments as needed. So I'm just going to do a checked in assignment. You can add as many as you need to, right? So it all depends on what you're trying to track. Are you tracking a function? Are you tracking roles? Are you tracking positions? Are you tracking tasks, activities? What is it that you're looking at tracking? So I'm just going to do a real basic check in, check out type event. So tap the check mark, added the assignment called checked in. Again, a couple different ways to do this. Got my assignment here. Now I can add in my collection. So with collection, I've got a bunch of different barcodes I have in here. So these are barcodes I pre-printed from my barcode sheet. I'll just show you right here. So my barcode sheet that has all of my collections I'm looking at tracking. I'll also show you how to download. So if you're looking at downloading, I'll show you that process as well. So this is what I'm going to be scanning. So let me just move this over. So all you need to do is tap your scan button. So if you want to select the assignment first, feel free to, or you can just scan this and then select the assignment afterwards. So I'm going to tap the scan button. You're going to see this. If you're using this for the first time, you're going to see this. Allow track to take pictures and record video. Make sure you say yes while using the app. You got to be able to scan with the camera. So all you do is focus on the barcode. There it is. Select your assignment. Since I didn't select it first, I'm going to select my assignment called checked in, or I can create one. And now it's going to pull in all of the resources within that barcode. Now remember, when you print off a barcode, these barcodes are static. It is not dynamic, it's static. So especially if you scan this through Rapid Tag, it's only going to pull the information that's encoded in this barcode. Great thing about the Track app usually will pull the most updated information from Salamander Live. So like for example, if Betty and Dennis, they had their information updated, they had some expired qualifications, but you updated it after you printed the barcode. The Track app knows to pull the most updated information, so it's when it does that identity verification, it's looking at the record within Salamander Live, not in the barcode. And so you should see that it should say verified in here if there's no other tests that they failed with the identity verification. So in this case, you have your option, right? You see there's check marks next to each person. This is your job as a Track app user to verify that all 5 resources for all people are there, as well as that piece of equipment. So is Barbosa there? Is Baron there? Benton, Bayer, and gosh, I'm not going to even try to pronounce this name. I'll just call him K, Keanu K. So in this case, who is not there? If they're not there, what you want to do is you want to uncheck their name. So uncheck them so that they're not checked in with the collection, which is important, because if you don't uncheck them and they are not there, what's going to happen is that they're going to start calculating costs for those individuals. So that's important. So there's only 3 people here that we verified, plus the piece of equipment. Once you're set and ready, all you do is tap accept. Once you tap accept, it's going to add the collection and all the members that you have selected with the check mark into the event. So you'll see at the bottom, vote Alicia added to checked in, which is the assignment. If you worked with the Track app before, you know that this is called continuous scan. The camera stays active, and the assignment that is active is the one that is listed in that little pop-up. So right now the checked in assignment is active. So any resources I scan going forward will be added to this checked in assignment. So again, as a Track app user, you got to be a little bit diligent, kind of pay attention to that so you're not scanning them into the wrong assignment. So again, we're going to scan another one. I'll scan another one in here. So this drone team, are they all there? Again, verify that you've got the 3 resources there. They're all checking in at the same time. Accept. Scan the next one. This one has resources as well. If they're not there and you're like, well, technically I didn't update this collection within Salamander Live. The people have completely changed. And not only that, the resource has changed. It's not Musa truck number 1 anymore. It's a completely different truck that we've assigned to DOT 1. So I can choose to uncheck everything and just check in the collection itself. And then I can build out who those new individuals are, as well as that piece of equipment within the event. So I'm going to do that. So in this case, I'm only checking in the collection called DOT 1. I accept, camera stays active. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to just tap back to go back to my main screen. So you'll see in here, My checked in assignment has a bunch of resources, 2 collections checked in, and then it basically parses out their members into their respective categories. So 5 people plus 2 pieces of equipment. I can go in here and I can check in and look at my team in this case. Okay, so you have your different options in here. I'm going to add a collection in here. I'll add my high angle rescue. So if you're looking at downloading, so I'm looking at adding my empty collection. So if I want to add my empty collection, which I don't have it printed off a barcode, I can always go to the plus button, tap collections, and this will download all of my collections from Salamander Live. So if you have larger collections that you weren't able to print off barcodes for, this is the route that you need to go. Downloading. It's pretty quick in here. You'll see I've got this collection that's 100 people, 90 people, so again, you have your choices. So I'm going to do this collection 90 people. You'll see it's going to pull down all those 90 individuals because I know that because I created that. So you can pull them up, and then from there you can select who's actually there from that collection. See, that's pretty quick. Pull down 90 people. So in this case, all you're doing now is doing head count. Who's actually there? You go through your list. You go through your list. So these people aren't here. This person is. You just quickly go through your list and just mark the people that are actually there and not there. Okay, so you're just doing quick roll call. Okay, so you can go through your list. Here's the people. So I selected a bunch of people, unselected a bunch of people. Once you're set and ready, all you need to do in here is tap accept. Tap accept. And now the collection has been added. Those people that were unselected would not be checked in with this collection. Okay, so if I go in here, you'll see this list. So if you ever want to look at the collection itself, all you need to do in this case is tap on the collection name. So it's spinning here because it's trying to add in all the resources, getting them checked in. So if I go in here and I looked at my personnel list, again, that's just tapping in the collection name. I can see my list of people in here. Now you got another option in this case is if you want to download a shell collection or empty collection. I have one in here, so I'm going to tap the plus, tap collections. I have one in here called my high angle rescue team. Let me just type in. There it is. Tap on it. When you're downloading, you can only download one collection at a time. You cannot select more than one. If you try to do that, it's not going to work anyways, because the moment you select it, it's going to take you to this confirm your team. So I already know that this is a empty collection because it pulls up no resources, absolutely none. So I'm going to create this on the fly as I go. So I'm going to add my team in. I'm going to tap accept. There it is. There's my high angle rescue team. From here, I have a couple different options. I can tap in the high angle rescue team, and you'll see within this screen, I have the plus button to manually add resources to this team, or I can scan their barcodes if I have their barcodes available. So you got a couple different options. So I'm going to scan a couple barcodes in this case. Scroll down. Tap the scan button. Here it is. It's verifying. This right here, I printed off new barcodes, so this is why it says print ID match failed instead of a verified, because all this means is that this person has a newer ID that was printed, and that's true because I printed a new one. This is an older document. So you have your options to block or allow. In this case, it's an older ID. It's fine, not a big issue, so I'll allow, and then you can scan, continue scanning and creating your team. And then you also have the option to download. So that's scanning. So you see in here I scanned, added those individuals in by scanning. I can also tap the plus button to download them as well. So you'll see in here you can only download people and equipment. So in this case, I can go in here, select the person or people that I'm looking at adding to this team. Okay. So I'm just going to add these people in here. There, I've added 2 people. Simply tap their picture to add them. Tap the check mark, and you'll see they're added to the team. Any questions on that process, working with an empty collection and creating it? Oh, was there a question? No questions. Now, I do want to talk about this process as well. Right now, so far, we got 79 people in here. I'm going to actually show you how you can move people around. So in this case, if you want to move people from another collection, oops, apologize. If you want to move people from one collection to another or into a different assignment, you can go into that collection and go into that assignment and simply tap on their record. And you get the move icon at the top. It looks like a clipboard with an arrow. When you do that, you have the option right there. You see, now I can select them to move them out of that collection, so the current collection they're in, into a different assignment, or I can move them completely into a different team, different collection. So I have my options to do so. So I can move them. I'm going to move them to High Angle Rescue Team, and now those two individuals are moved to High Angle Rescue Team. So that's kind of you tracking and managing your collections. This works great for like if you had like a day shift, night shift, but your team stays the same, right? Your team name, you'll always have a drone team 1 there. However, you have a day team, a night team. And so in this case, you got 2 shifts in this case you want to manage. So in this case, you can move those people out. So the equipment stays there, right? But the people are changing shifts. So these people are going home. I can tap their name, tap the move icon, move them off scene. It's going to take me back to my drone team collection here, and I can add in who the new people are. So who's taking over? If I don't have their barcode to scan, I can just simply tap the plus button and add them in here. Oops, if I can spell. So you can search by person's first name, last name, organization. So there I'm adding in my 2 new people. Here they are. Tap the check mark, and these 2 people are taking over from drone team 1.
Tag or track.
Oh, was that
sorry?
Question?
My bad. Nope.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Oh, no worries. So that's moving people in and out of a collection. Again, you can create one from scratch through Salamander Live, a team, and then you can add the members or move people, members around as needed. So that is a collection, working with those collections within within the Track app itself. But again, it requires for these collections to already be created. So they have to exist within your Salamander Live database to either download or have a barcode to be able to work with them within the Track app. So that is collections with just a basic event. No planning involved, nothing. No planning involved. Now, in a plan, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. Because in the plan, in this case, because what happens is, and I should probably talk about this here as well. Let me just refresh this really quick. Should go back in here. So let's say you have a collection, a team that comes in. So let's say it's, I'm going to add in this collection right here. Boat Jerry. So let's say these 2 individuals are here. So Batty Boyle is here, but Baker and Brand are not here yet. So in this case, you can check in those 2 individuals plus the equipment, and then check in Baker and Brand later when they show up, because you don't want to add them in here at the moment. So I can accept and add them in here, and then later I can go back in and add them if I need to. So if they come in and they're looking at, hey, I'm here, I'm with the team Boat Jerry. If they're in front of you, this is where you can scan their barcode to have them added back into the collection, or you can download their records and add them there. So I wanted to make sure that I answered that question of what happens if the entire team is not there. How do you handle that? Check who's in there already, who's there already, and then check in those that did not check in with the team later by scanning their barcodes or adding them in manually. All right, so let's take a look at a plan event because I know there's one person here that has a plan. So a plan, let's talk about what a plan is. So the plan in this case, plans are pre-built templates of an event. So it could be a generic template that you want to use. So for example, if you have trainings, drills, it could be for natural disasters, anything. If you want to pre-plan and build that ahead of time, you have that capability to do so. The plans feature is an additional feature that you have to subscribe to in order to see this. So I have one in here called example plan. All I'm doing in here is I created it, added a bunch of different assignments, and added resources in this case, and added a bunch of collections in this case. So I've got a bunch of collections in here that we are going to work through within the track app. So there's my event, or my plan, I should say, and there is my event. I called it example event. Once I tap join, what's going to happen is going to pull, because this is a plan, so this is a planned event, all the assignments that were within that plan, all the resources, any scheduling is going to pull through. And you'll see them all listed here in alphanumeric order. If I go into the assignment, I will see that there are resources in there for the ones that do have resources, but they are grayed out. They're grayed out for a purpose. They're not there yet. You just activated the plan. The only time that they will be activated is when you scan or download their records. That's when they will activate. So I can go in there. I can also look. So there's Boat Alicia, and I can go in there and see who the members are part of that team, if there's any equipment. Okay. So when it comes to collection, I've got options. I can scan the barcode of the collection, which I'm going to do. Scanning that Boat Alicia. Get my refresh just real quick. There's a scan button. I'm going to scan. So it's the exact same thing. So in this case, it's saying, hey, here's all the people that's within that barcode. Are they all looking at getting checked in? I verify. Yes. They're all in. I tap accept. It's going to add the collection. You see here, Boat Alicia added to boat as planned. That's the difference. It didn't matter where I was within the track app. If I was within a different assignment and they weren't in the boat assignment, it would have added them immediately to the boat assignment. So then I can do the exact same thing. I can scan the next one. Now this person or this collection has more people in here. So in this case, who's not there? Dolly's not there. So let's uncheck Dolly in this case. So everybody else is there. I can accept the collection as is without Dolly. In this case, I'm going to tap accept. I'm going to activate Boat Henry as planned. I'm going to show you this here. So you see Boat Henry is activated with all its resources except Miss Dolly. You see how she's still grayed out? So the plan, it just tells you who's supposed to be there. So that's the difference between the two events I showed you. You didn't know who was part of that team ahead of time. In this case, this one, it tells you like who's supposed to be part of that team. And so now if Dolly comes in later, I can add her in here. I can scan her barcode. So going forward, I have to scan. So if you try downloading, so I can download her. I'm going to show you this real quick here. Dolly. Dolly in here. So I tap her name to download her. You're going to get this. It says continue with personnel as planned. The scanned personnel Dolly is part of a collection. Boat Henry. Tap yes to continue with the resources as planned, or tap no to ignore the plan. So if you scan or download, you're going to get this message. You have two options. If you click no, you ignore the plan, and then it's going to allow you to select a different assignment to add her into. If you tap yes, it will activate her within that collection and that assignment. So there, it activates her. So that's very important. If you were in a different assignment, I'm going to do Boat Jenny real quick here. I'm going to download one person. I'll do Gail Berrigan. Tap Gail. Search for her. Get this as well. So you see where it says activate collection with personnel. Get the same thing. The difference with this one is that it's going to activate the resource with the collection. So it's going to activate just her and the entire collection. So everybody else is being grayed out. So I'm going to do that. So there it is. So you see when I tap that, it activated her, but it moved her out of the collection. She is no longer part of that collection, because it treated her as a separate individual resource. So you got to be careful about how you do it. If you're in the collection and you do it from here, or you scan the barcode, you got to really read the message so that you are selecting the correct option that works best for you. So now if I scan in Boat Jenny, Boat Jenny, you see how it has Gail in there again? See how it showed up? Because her name was originally in that barcode. Again, I talked about that. It's a static barcode, so it still has her name in there. If I tap accept, it's going to move Gail in from wherever assignment she was placed in before into this collection and into her planned assignment. So if I tap accept, added Boat Jenny as planned. If I go in there, you see how Gail is no longer as an individual. She's now a part of that collection. So there she is. If I go into her history, I'll be able to see that history. So you see that? Boat. And then there's Jenny. So she was in there for a minute, and then she moves back into Boat. So how do you view the details for people? Just simply tapping their name. Tap their name, it goes into the profile. And it shows their history. Again, every person that's part of the collection may have a different history. Depends on if they were moved in and out of that collection or moved elsewhere because their skill set or qualifications, credentials were needed elsewhere. So that's how you work with plans in this case. Any questions on that process? Any questions? So it's just a little bit different when you're working with plans when it comes to collections. I am going to pop up Salamander Live because Salamander Live is also an area that you can add collections. So I'm going to go into Salamander Live since we have some time. I'm going to go into my basic event real quick here. Just go to my basic event. So I'm going to go to my example event. Actually, sorry, I apologize. The training event. The training event is the one that's not part of a plan, as you can see in here, no plan. So I'm going to show you how to manage collections through Salamander Live as well. So again, this is more for people back end, right? If you're an administrator, you're an EOC, you have access to this and you want to do some tracking, you have that same capability through Salamander Live. So all that is managed through the chart. You can also manage it through the roster. So in the chart, this does require you to have Events Pro. Events Pro is part of Plans, so if you have the Plans feature, you automatically get Events Pro. So it's required in order to do this functionality I'm showing right here. So if you just have a standard plan, no Events Pro, you will not even see these dots right here. So this is a More option, and you won't even see the Add Assignment button. So in this case, I can go in here. You see this when I click on that More options, I get the option to add a collection. I can go to Details and add a collection there. So I have my options. If I add collection, all I'm doing is saying, hey, what collection am I looking at adding or checking into the event? So from here, you'll see that anybody that's already, or any collection that's already been activated is in red. You can't select them again. If you're looking at moving, you've got to go into the assignment to move them. So in this case, I'm going to just select my drone team 2. Okay, you can only select one at a time. Click Save, It's going to pull up the resources. From here, you have your options to unselect the ones that are not there, and then you can add. Once you add it, activates the collection. Collection's been added. So you can expand these areas right here. This expansion feature is available on all accounts. Doesn't matter if you have just standard plan, Events Pro, or plans. So in this case, I can look through this list. This is a long list because my AFD collection has a bunch of people in there. Okay, and there it is. Even shows you how long they've been in the event for. There's Boat Alicia, Boat Jerry, and there's my drone team too. I just checked in. If you go in here to your details, you have the collection button from there as well. If you go in here, you'll see that anybody that their names are in orange, it's like an orange yellow, that tells you that they are already part of a collection. You see that, and their collection name will be listed here. Now, if you need to move anybody, you can click the checkbox. Again, this feature is Events Pro, and you can move them. And you can select to move them into a different assignment or a different collection. So just the same as you saw within the track app, those functionalities within the track app is available through SalamanderLive as well. So right now they're in high angle rescue team. I can move them out off scene, or I can move them to a different assignment or to a different collection. So I've got my options. So I select Boat Alicia, I move them. Now they're going to be moved over to Boat Alicia, and you'll see their names, their collection has changed. So it's really simple. I mean, again, you can do this from the roster as well too. The roster, if you click the checkbox next to a record, you have the move option as well. It's right here. So you'll see the assignment name and then the collection name in here. You get the same options that pops up. So the same drop down. Now in a collection or in a plan, collections are a little bit different. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Events, go to my planned event. In here, when I go to my collection, so I got a bunch of collections here, I have an option to view live view or planned view. The planned view, I can go in and see all the collections. So I've got a bunch of collections that I'm not activated yet. So in the SAR assignment, I've got 2 collections. From here, I can activate those collections. However, it is a all or nothing. You don't have that option as you do within the track app to activate one person out of that collection. It is an all or nothing. So you see in here, the collections are created right here, and then all I have to do is activate. That's it. Okay, so activate. So I have to verify, make sure that they all are there before you do it within SalamanderLive. You cannot pick and choose. So K9 Storm, if I go back to the details, I'll be able to see that there's, 2 resources there. I can activate those 2 resources. Once I confirmed and validate that they're there, I can activate it, and it'll activate that collection and the resources within that collection. And there they are. I'll activate them. And there they are in yellow right here. Erica and Storm. So that's the difference between activating through the track app and or SalamanderLive for planned collections. All or nothing in SalamanderLive. You got a little more options and flexibility within the track app. So that's why I wanted to show the track app, because you do have a little bit more options. But this is a backup if you need to activate resources through the system. Any questions? Any questions on what we've covered? Any questions? No questions. That's all I had on my agenda today for covering. Hopefully today has given you some information to start working with collections. start building out those collections and start tracking that if that's something you're looking at going forward. Now, if you have any questions as you start working through the collections page and tracking collections through the Track app or any of our other applications that you're allowed to manage collections, please feel free to reach out. You can call me at our 877 number or you can email me at training@salamanderlive.com. So other than that, everybody, thank you all so much for being on the call today. I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next month. Please come back next month. We are going to look at our new feature, the scanning mode that we've just turned on in our last release. So there hasn't been any information on this yet, but we'll get firsthand look at it next month. All right, thank you all. You have a great day. Take care.